such as language, Shirani, Dana, Wachibas, Tuju Dogan, Dula Chatsel, Dogan Jesus, on Repachel, Samba Chepe, Chuji Ingentam, Gave Yub the Jujan guesses. Now you think it road to Ricam Sub, Middle Tempest, Linear, Banjo, Uru Chamat. The Jingushi to the Rete, Yonzela Mojo, Bajela, and就更多养到那么大，人们之间把它当有的，少到人之间的了，这年头就像月光把娘了，不是。Please listen carefully by generating your mind towards the body, chitta, and we will start with the uh, meditating on the impermanence, which is the second chapter or the second meditation for the Kongtrul. And it's been, I think, 2 weeks already. I hope you all did some meditation, reflecting on the precious human life. And also, actually, I thought of in this month to complete the 4 common practices of mind training, but somehow we just completed the precious human life so far. So nevertheless, I think we can just go smoothly with extensive explanation. That would be much better than just going like short. Anyway, I do know that, of course, most of the for practitioner, for of course, but all the participated people, I'm sure that the 4 common mind training would be very much nothing to do with the physical kind of action, more on the mind training itself. Somehow, in earlier time, in the our Kamakayu history, we have several famous retreat. One of the most well-known is the one of the retreat of the Surbu Monastery. And so behind the main seat, there is one retreat center, which is above the kind of the mountain or on top of the hill. And so it's been there for many generations of the Kamapas incarnations. And while in that retreat, of course, it has been, the practices has been changed over time. But in the earlier time, the retreat is mostly focused on the starting from the Kongtrul, the preliminary practice, and then the 6th practice of Naropa, and as well as the main deity as the Chakrasambhara and the Vajrayogini. And there are few tantric deity were practiced, but gradually when time passed by and there were many, when the retreat is completed, the lamas, known as the lama because they have completed their retreat and they are ready to become the Vajra master, so they have the title of the name Lama. One of the reasons why the Lama is considered after entering the retreat is that, in retreat, mostly we do practice Tantric practices. In the higher Tantra, we have 4 empowerment on top one, known as the Vajra Master empowerment. So that means that the person is empowered to become a Vajra Master. So when they complete the all various of the practice of each deity, they're somehow completing and being prepared to teach the part of the visualization and the Zorim Kala
completion phase.
Completion phase, and they are ready. So therefore, so then they are gradually receive the title of the name of the Lama. Other than that, there's no meaning of calling Lama. Yeah, because of the there's the during the 5th level where the Vajra Master empowerment. So therefore, the Vajra Master known as the Lama. So that is the reason when we say completed, retreated, they have the name of Lama. So this is the main reason. And then, so in the earlier time, there were no many kind of such as many practices inside the retreats. So when the Lama completed their retreats, and they have to, by the request of the people, by the villager and the surrounding kind of people, when someone dies, they request Lama to perform some pujas for the deceased one. And the Lama have to perform so many kind of rituals. So for that reason, they need to, for example, like Amitabha, and sometime Buddha Virajana, Gurik, number Nangze, and also Mitupa, what do you call?
Akshobhya.
Buddha Akshobhya practices, and also some red Genesis, Gyagyaso. And there are countless of numerous kind of deity. So, for that reason, later on, they have to complete. It would be better to complete those retreats so that they added those deity in the retreats, so that in the earlier time, like 3 years, 6 months, or 3 months, or 1 month, or 15 days, what kind of retreat it is. The practices are not too many number. There are only few numbers, and that reason the Lama can the retreat people can focus very detailedly because they have enough time. And when when they added on, the practices become very short. Each individual practice becomes very shorter, so that it just becomes just the name of a practice, but they cannot manage to absorb many kind of experience, lack of the timing. And it happens to individual, but not to everyone. In that reasons, in earlier time, they have very long time to meditate on precious human life, impermanence, and cause and effect and force of samsara and so on. And now it becomes very much shorter and shorter, like 7 days. So whether you can do it or not, it doesn't matter. If the 7 days pass by, you have to move on the second. So it's like, the time is limited because the retreat should be, completed in 3 years, 6 months. So in that way, you have to complete whether you personally did or not. So now we are not in that case. We have more time. We have yes. So I would rather advise you that just because the days of the numbers have completed doesn't mean your practices has completed. So therefore, I would prefer and suggest you until you feel like you want to go on the next practices. Till then, do the mind training itself, unless you see any kind of benefits. This is very important. Yeah. In the same way, there are many new beginner. So somehow when they in the very earlier time when they have to in the retreat have to complete the prostration. So while doing in order to complete the prostration, they start from the very in the mind training itself. So most of the time the lamas spend there not on the meditating but on the prostration. So you see the lack of mind training itself. So therefore it is important not to hurry up for the prostration, more focus on the mind training itself for right now. So and one reason is that there is no physical act, and for the beginner it's very much easy to get distracted. So therefore, the meditation becomes very hard for them. And there is some kind of a falls during the meditation because they get easily distracted. Somehow they can get into a deep sleep, or like don't know where to focus, don't know what to do as well. It is okay to have this experience because you are starting from not knowing, we are new person to mantra. So this is okay to have this experience, but we need to get improved day by day. So this is kind of important. And I will continue from the root text. Second, meditation on impermanence. Second, the world and living beings are transit, especially my life like water bubble. Who knows when I will die and become a crop? Since Dharma will help, then I will practice legendary. Of course, this is very clear, and yes, so I will continue with the commentary. There are 5 root verses from the Kadamba school, and you can find the 5 numbers. First is the reflecting on the nothing lasts, everything changes. And second, contemplate the many others who have died. The third, contemplate the many causes of the death and again. And the fourth is the contemplate what will happen at the time of death. And the fifth, contemplate what happens after the death. So these are the 4 notes about impermanence in the Kadamba school. According to Kadamba tradition, there are various they mention like Serchu, which means golden instructions. And most of the Kadamba practices are considered as mind training. And of course, it is very much a Mahayana way of practicing through contemplating and meditating. So although there are many different ways to practice impermanence, but in here, the first Jamgon Kongtrul have suggested it will be better. He mentioned on the mind training of the Kadamba way. So it doesn't have to be only the way of the this, but it has many benefits. That's why it has, put it. But there are a different way, and if you have like time, and you can just look at the Ocean of its method.
Ocean of true meaning.
Meaning, yeah. And then we have the there are also many also a text by the 8th command by Miyui Doje Chidong Gyaza. Chidong Gyaza, actually it is kind of an instruction and advice on mind training by the Miyui Doje. It is called the 100 advices. So I'm not sure whether it is translated in English or not, but
no, it's not. I don't think.
If there is someone, if you know Tibetan, then you can just read it. It is very beneficial. And we have the very short version available on like Chukutsup and Marik Minsel.
So the pointing out the Dharmakaya and Marik Munsel, the dispelling the ignorance, dispelling the light, dispelling the ignorance.
And also we have the Kunsan Lami Shalom, composed by Batu Rinpoche, which is actually Nyingma tradition, but anyway, the foundation are the same. The name,
the word of my perfect teacher.
Yeah,
in English.
So those are the name I have mentioned. You can just look as a site to get more information. So far, the main teaching would be the torch of certainty, so I will continue. So the universe is first formed, then remain, and is finally destroyed by fire and water, so that not even a speck of ash is left. Last year, this year, yesterday, today, and so forth, months and years disappear moment by moment. All the beings inhabiting this world are also impermanent. Meditating, thinking I was like that when I was a baby, then I was like that as a child and like that as youth. Now I have aged this much. With each day and every month, death draws closer and closer. It is nearly upon me what would be best. How can I do it? So in here, So the topic are very kind of a question where we can reflect ourselves towards more impermanence. And so in here, the outer, the internal and external, every kind of formed kind of a autumn. Of course, gradually it will be separated in their own ways, and it shows this the true meaning of uh, not being permanent. And yes, so we have good kind of stages to reflect on, and you could meditate on the one by one on the questions and answer those questions through your own experience, even though you haven't experienced it yet. But imagine how it would be if I would be in that kind of state. So by that, we will be much more understanding on the impermanence. And the second, contemplate the many others who have died. Contemplate thinking the people I have remembered who have died up to now outnumber those alive now who are older, younger, or the same age as me. This person lived here but has died. That was over there, but now it has fallen into ruins. Only a few die of old age, most without time to think or remember, or suddenly snitch away even at happy and joyous times. That is how it is. Some who have not died have gone from high to low, from low to high, from beggar to rich, from rich to destitute. No one I have seen or heard of is beyond impermanence. When will it happen to me as well? Now, while I still have little time, I must be diligent about practicing the true Dharma. So contemplate the many others who have died. And this is the second kind of, what could say, homework. And yeah, we can just try to reflect that all the past, our ancestor, forefathers, everyone has, passed away for sure. That is why we are still here. For many generations, we have to know that we are the reason that mankind has still survived for the outnumber of, let's say, thousands of years. And although the 2000, let's say, 24 is numbers, but still, before that, we are still, our ancestors have been lived for many generations. So if we count our, past forefathers, we cannot be able to count. Even the number is limited. And also there are many, when we just, for us to think about others doesn't feel much. But when it comes to self, we feel more, because that shows that we have very strong attachment to ourselves and our surroundings. In that way, we can just start from ourselves, and we can see that we are the reason that humankind have still survived. And for many generations, they have many our, how to say, forefather has lived. And just question ourselves: do we know each and every our family member's name, father, mother? We might remember our own father, mother, but do we remember name from our father and his father and his father? For us, it is completely stranger. And we don't know what kind of life they have lived. We don't know what kind of good or bad kind of life they have lived. According to their life, they might have lived the perfect or the worst life ever. But for us, to us, it is unknown. In the same way, even though right now, what kind of life we are living, somehow, when time goes by, nobody will ever remember who I am, and what kind of work I did. For example, the very famous kings and queens, they are outnumbered in many countries, but we only know the famous one. It same goes to us. And also in the future, there will be a time that nobody knows that I even existed in this earth. In that way, what we should understand that we are just our existence of our own imagination. We are existence of our own self. When the time, continues, we will become no one. And whether what kind of brand of company you are wearing or driving, or what kind of you are having. So it's like that. During Stone Age people, they have this kind of brand, this kind of company. For us, it is useless, and it has nothing to do much. It is their time of everything, but for us, it is nothing. Whatever it seems important in this time, it becomes more useless. It doesn't make that much value. The value comes with the time and all cause and conditions. When the people changes, even though you treasure what kind of it is, it has no value at all. So the value and everything is just a temporary in the Buddhist point of view. Of course, from the Kongtrul point of view. So it is important that what kind of person has lived in their own time and their own kind of a way. But it doesn't mean that that person will be remain forever. So we should always remember that somehow we may have strong kind of aim to put on legacy, like I wanted to I want to my family name, whatever it is, it's just temporary. When time goes by, no one will can recognize who they were, what kind of they have done, until the close and the aware people pass by. So in that way, so in here it just shows more close, like the person, grandparents who have lived. And yes, for example, even in my, let's say, when I was in Buddhist school, we have many. I have few kind of Dharma friends, like the first line, the second line, the third line. They are seated, and one have passed away. One becomes disrobed. One became, some suicide, and some got accident, and some become qualified lama. Some is good businessman. Some becomes like during that time we are all as a student a monk. Now everything changes. It was not the same person anymore. Even the sometimes a friends becomes an enemy. Not need a good reasoning, and sometimes a close friend become a stranger to back how it was in the restarting, and slowly everything just changes. So everything is just a temporary on its moment. Everything lasts its own in their own way, but in the longer period of time, everything changes. And the third one, contemplate the many causes of death again and again. Meditate instantly, thinking, falling rocks, collapsing building, lightning, seizures, unbearable abdominal pain, and so forth. There are so many causes of death that we do not know how it will come. We do not know when it will come. If it is karma, there is no way to prevent it. I don't even know whether my food, wealth, clothing, friends, associates, servant, and so forth will become cause of death. The time of death is uncertain. So what will happen to me even now? So this is the third where one should contemplate. And yeah, so we can also reflect in our past near, let's say, the pandemic of the COVID, where many numerous of people have suffered from hunger and so on, and there are countless of people have also suffered, and many people have died. That is the big thing, and due to that, uh, uh, many people in many countries has had a very bad economy, and so on. The wealthy people became poor. The poor became wealthy in their own way of you know, uh, business way, and so on. uh, this something that happened, and we have all witnessed through our eyes. So in that way, we can just see that even a small cause can spread to whole world. That is something like unimaginable. From a one person, it spread to the whole world. So it caused death, and we, there are many people, countries, they built many hospital from a one person, causing by one person. In country, they built many hospitals, and there were, outnumber of deceased one, and so on. So just we can see that even though the person has full, built body, whether they are very strong, outer, even a small kind of a sickness can drive us, strong built body can be shrinked to a very thin body, almost going to die, only left the skeleton and the skin. And so the cause of the death is numerous, and we cannot imagine in that way. So far, our human life is very precious. Even like just newborn baby, the parents, in their eye, the baby is just a very sensitive form. We try to protect the newborn flesh or the baby from any kind of a sickness, just to protect. It's the same like right now, no matter how we are mature, no matter how our body are strongly built, if it comes with causes of death, we for sure will die. So, so that we have also a way of thinking on that. The Bodhisattva Pitaka mentions 9 causes of certain death. Eating food that disagrees with you, overreacting when already full, eating before the last meal, digested, not urinating or not defecating in timely manner, patients not heeding the advice of doctor and nurse, being struck by virulent bones, taking the wrong emetic, impulsive violent behavior, and engaging in sexual intercourse carelessly. Be wary of this. So it mentions that basically it mentions that there are that even eating, sleeping, when the cause and condition of death arises, and there will be death sooner or later. And so basically, what we have to understand that death can be coming not as planned. It can appear any moment, any time, whenever. And yes, so there is a story that there's a person uh, was sleeping under the tree, and he was imagining of his life to make a good business. Through the business, getting wealth, and he want to have a family. And he was imagining the name of the children, and he was imagining his wife and the wealth and houses and so on. And So suddenly, kind of a, I think, fruit or whatever fell from the tree and knocked his face, and he passed away. And so you can see that even though he was imagining even in the few minutes before, he was, living perfectly, breathing, no sickness in his body, and he was just imagining about his future, long future. But just because of certain kind of wind, whatever, it causes to feel um, what kind of or whatever it is on his face, so he couldn't breathe and just immediately passed away. And yes, and some people just the death is not cannot be sure that we will die by aging, but it can come in very certain. And yeah, so the fourth contemplated what will happen at the time of death. Death comes upon us unwanted. We do not accept it willingly. Weakened individual and those who have previously committed bad acts have the agony of the channels being served and the terrifying feeling of the life casing. In particular, they experience many mistaken, confused appearance. They lose control of their bodies and mind. So there is no telling what they might think of. The state of the mind at that time of death is so potent that if even a mindly unwearied thought arises, rebirth in the lower realms is certain. So you can see right here, it is written down that when that happens, the mind becomes so sensitive and subtle that even kind of a negative kind of, let's say, thought, if it arises, it can cause your whole mentality towards uh, imagining. It's like, like a water, let's say glass of water. You don't need to, pour a glass of ink into it. I mean, ink or spoon. Just a one drop can cause a whole glass of water into, let's say, blue color. And so it doesn't require very lots of solid concept of negativity thoughts. Just a simple when it enters into our mind, and that continues and reflects more and more. In that way, uh, so the mind becomes instability. We become so much fearful on something that we are not aware of it, and through this, uh, with our blindness or being not fully wisdom, there's a very big chance we rebirth in the lower realms. So it is certain. So here it is very clearly mentioned. As that state of mind depends upon our present conditioning, we must start now to habituate ourselves to the Dharma. It goes without saying that divination, the medical treatment, healing, retires, food, wealth, and so forth cannot fool death. Even the power of Buddha cannot bring back a life that has run out. Thus, there is no way to avoid death, so we must act now to ensure we have no regrets when the time comes. So here we have advice and more on the contemplating. And so in here, as it says that even the power of Buddha cannot bring back a life that has run out. So there is a story in the Buddha Shakyamuni's time. There was a lady. She had one child. Although the story has many versions depending on the many kind of different country, the Buddhist, kind of teaching has spread. They have their different little bit kind of version in their own different way. But somehow the main way of the story ends the same, that there was a lady, she had one child, and she was so taking the child as her own treasure. And for her, the child means everything. And one day, the child, due to some reason, passed away. And with that, she lost her kind of happiness. And she was so much into sad and emotion that which drove her mind towards being almost like getting not knowing what is wrong and what is right. And she was all the time like in sad. And someone asked, felt pity on her, that she felt so much kind of devastated. And they thought that it would be much better if she could meet Buddha. So somehow she might get kind of a salvation or benefits. And so she brought her child's robe with her. In her mind, she's still having the hope that the child will wake up again. For now, the child is just sleeping. So she carries on the baby here and there, so forth. And when she approached the Buddha Shakyamuni, and though the Buddha didn't react at all, he was calm, patient, and listened whatever she has to say. In the end, the lady asked the Buddha whether he can bring back her lost child again. And the Buddha gave one condition. If she can do that, then he will bring the lost one to regain his spirit. So the advice was, go to a family house and bring a mustard seed where no relative has been passed away from the natural cause of death. So at that time, although we can easily understand that this is not possible, but for her, just hearing there is a hope, being also ignorant that at the same time, because of the sadness drive her mentally strongly. And then she went to the whole area of the place where she stays and came back with full understanding that the death is normal and there is no one that haven't survived from the death. And then the Buddha have expressed his kindness to her that now you should see that is the fact of reality. So one should really should not be ignorant on being those causes and conditions. And then the impermanence, he started to give teaching, so on. So this is kind of a I just extended those stories. Fifth, contemplate what happens after death. Meditate that once you have died, you will not be able to carry a single mouthful of food, a set of clothes, or a single gemstone. You won't even be able to bring along the lowest servant, even you are in a universal emperor. Your corpse will be wrapped in a shroud and bound with a rope. Everyone will be nurtured just looking at it. After a few days, not even a trace of it will remain. Your mind will be out of control, like the feather blown around by the wind, and you will travel the terrifying passage of the Bardo. You will wander unwinting into an unknown next life, pushed by your positive and negative acts. There is no way to leave behind the wrong you have done. The true Dharma and virtue will help, but if you do not strive to accomplish them now, at that time there will be no one to borrow them from and no one to give them to you. In summer, there is no other way to practice Dharma from now on. You must not delete it. You must integrate it into your being, and in order to integrate it, you must practice. You must gain stability in the practice of that. I'm trying to complete this one today. You will actually feel joy at the time of death. Others will venerate you, staying for your pure practitioner you were. So it is very much clear. So I don't think I need to expand my explanation on that. And so um, so of course, I do remember many people when their parents, let's say the mother, especially mother, passes away. They ask me personally to do to make some miracle that may she can live only for 5 minutes more, so that he can even though if she can live more for 5 minutes, he will able to be very much appreciated. I mean, of course, the prayer has blessing, but the fact is fact that when death comes, surely even the prayer is a blessing, but it will not let you escape from from the certain death. So from my point of view, when I hear this kind of when I be in this kind of situation, so of course the person from both have going through so many emotions that in a way we're still not accepting the impermanence, so that it becomes very hard for both to let go. So yeah, so it is. I would not say that. I would say that it would be if we can train ourselves to accept impermanence as it is the fact of the samsara of life, then it will be much better, and we will always should understand ourselves and what is happening in our life. Mm. And some people, when their parents pass away, they try to burn whatever they like, and it is kind of a very pitiful and kind of to see that even though one is consciousness, one is physical form, when physical form and the consciousness get separated, no matter how solid kind of item you try to offer, they will not receive, because it is two different kind of in the two different parts. So it will be very much yeah. So the most beneficial will be the aspiration and the prayers. Whether that person really, have heard your prayers or blessing, yes or not, it doesn't matter a lot. From your perspective, if you have done the best, you're being a good person. You did your own job. Whether the person will know, he will be more appreciated. So it will be better. Of course, the blessing is there, but it is more important that from your side you have to do the appreciation, not depending on whether you're doing good or bad or something like that. It is all on your perspective. So we continue. We say so and so died. How it felt. Oh, what a tragedy for that family, Lamakins. But we are numbed to the fact that the same thing will soon happen to us. Though we know we will die someday, we think we won't die for a while. Intellectually, we know that the time of death is uncertain, but we do not rely, take it to heart. All those who have deluded by worldly appearance and the act contrary to the Dharma when they meet with adversary have no sense. So we will continue so forth. So think up to now more than half of my life has gone by. It is as if the Lord of Death has almost arrived at my door. So I have no time to waste thinking about food, wealth, provisions, clothing, and my reputation, and so on. Then measure your actions of body, speech, and mind against the yardstick of Dharma. when others take it easy and lay out their past and futures in their mind, think to yourself, what are they thinking? Are they afraid of death? The poor things never be without the sense of urgency. So, of course, this is the fifth on what happened after the death. So it has till here, of course, the general and the advice are the same. And this is what we should kind of should contemplate during this time. And mostly we should not only meditate on the impermanence, but actually we have to accept the impermanence. As I mentioned earlier, that somehow we are deluded and we are not willing to accept what is happening right now. So in that way, we should be more on the understanding of instability of the worldly life. And so far, the advice from here is that we have to be we should be built our mind very strong, protected by awareness, and then accept the reality of what will happen and what. So we should not regret in the very end, that, oh, I haven't done my proper practices, whatever it is called. So yeah, so we will stop here. Gede rowa mali dorje sentate tashi chove cheme chen nange lamnen dorje rowa sanje nichi kompang zorje ngo gewa diye nyot chaja chenpo drupjo ne rowa chikchan mal diye sala go parasho sanje kusung nipe chenlap chuni minchuru denpe chenlap gende meche denpe chenlap chitra ngo wamyan go parasho. And on the 30th is Sunday, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we will end our Ngondro on the 30th. And we shall we will continue next year. So, and yeah. So, so mainly here, rather than meditating, it will be much appreciated to do some contemplating. So in order to improve your let's say to understand on the more impermanency is not only by the reading texts or meditating on. Meditation itself is more like controlling yourself and being more patient, and meditation gives you more stable on the calmness. But my master usually tells me that what kind of your when I was reading the book, and my master or the teacher used to say, "Where are you looking at?" And he used to say that in this book it's not only our words, but all this experience, what we have seen in the reality, the elements you see in the mountains or the forest, and the experience in the life, high, low, whatever you see outside, it's actually in this book. By looking at this book, you have to experience the outside world, what is going on. Through this book, if you can't see this, then you don't have, you are not fully understand what you are reading. And if you cannot get the answer from the book, try to go outside and look and try to get the experience. And then when you look at the book, you will experience the advice in a very different level. So this is, for me, a very, precious advice. And that also tells us that meditation is more on controlling ourselves, not to overreact on our emotions. So if the impermanence doesn't, arise within your mind easily, try to just go to a place where you can feel more impermanence. Looking at the sky, clouds, how it appears and disappears. And just look at, there's many people in the hospital and day by day passing. And there are new, born baby, a new life being born in this earth. And also at the same time, being passed and at the same day. So in 1 second in this world, continuously taking birth, continuously someone is dying. So in that way, we can understand that death continuously, non-stop moves forwards. And in one day, we can be in that spot of continuation. So, and yeah, so we can meditate on those. So we will start the cause and effect next weekend. Okay.